The crystalline halls of the Valerian royal palace stretched endlessly, refracting starlight into 1,000 prismatic fragments. Princess Mia of Valara stood before the observation deck, her translucent skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that betrayed her inner turmoil. For 3 cycles, the human ambassador had resided in her father's court, and for 3 cycles she had found herself inexplicably drawn to his presence. Ken stood several meters away, examining a holographic display of trade routes with the kind of focused intensity that Mia had come to recognize as distinctly human. His species was still new to the Galactic Council, their planet only recently having achieved faster-than-light travel. Most species regarded humans with a mixture of curiosity and dismissiveness. They were technologically backward, militarily insignificant, and physically unremarkable compared to the diverse races that populated the galaxy. Yet something about this particular human fascinated her. "Ambassador Ken," she called out, her voice carrying the melodious quality of her people. "May I have a moment of your time?" Ken turned, his plain features arranging themselves into what humans called a smile. "Of course, Your Highness. I'm always honored by your company." Mia's luminescent patterns flickered, a blush by Valerian standards. She approached him, her flowing robes trailing behind her like liquid moonlight. "I have a question that has troubled me," she began, choosing her words carefully. "It may seem strange, but I find myself curious about human perspectives." "I'm all ears," Ken replied, using one of those peculiar human expressions that made no literal sense. "What do humans consider beautiful?" Mia asked, gesturing to herself. "In the galaxy, my people are considered among the most aesthetically perfect. Our symmetry, our bioluminescence, our graceful proportions, these are mathematical ideals. The Krotha value size and strength. The Zynthians prize their metallic exoskeletons. But humans, your standards seem different. Confusing even." Ken studied her for a long moment, his brown eyes thoughtful. "May I be completely honest, Your Highness? Please. I ask because I genuinely wish to understand." Ken walked to the observation window looking out at the alien stars. "Your people are objectively beautiful by almost any standard. The mathematics of your form, the way light plays across your skin, it's breathtaking. But you're asking the wrong question." Mia's patterns swirled with confusion. "I don't understand." "Beauty to humans isn't just about what we see," Ken explained, his voice taking on a passionate quality. "It's about what we feel, what we experience, what we survive. Let me tell you about Earth beauty." He pulled up a holographic image from his personal data pad. It showed a flower, small, fragile, with petals of brilliant red. "This is a poppy," Ken said. "It grows in places where nothing else can. After wars, after fires, after devastation, poppies emerge from scorched earth. To us, that's beautiful, not because the flower is perfect, but because it represents resilience, hope emerging from ashes." Another image appeared. An elderly human woman, her face mapped with wrinkles, her hair silver white. "This is my grandmother," Ken continued, his voice softening. "By your mathematical standards, she's imperfect, asymmetrical, marked by time and gravity. But when I look at her, I see every sacrifice she made. Every night she stayed awake caring for sick children. Every smile she gave despite her own pain. Her face is a map of love, and that makes her beautiful." Mia found herself leaning closer. Captivated, Ken cycled through more images. A massive scar running down a man's torso, a child with mismatched eyes, an ancient tree twisted by centuries of wind, a city rebuilt after destruction. "We humans," Ken said, "we find beauty in imperfection because imperfection means survival. It means struggle and overcoming. A smooth stone is nice, but a weathered stone tells a story. We're attracted to things that have lived, that have fought, that have endured." "But surely you also appreciate perfection," Mia challenged. "Your art, your architecture, we do," Ken admitted. "But even our perfect art is valued because of the imperfect human who created it. The Sistine Chapel is beautiful not just because of what it shows, but because one man spent 4 years on his back, in pain, refusing to give up until it was complete. The beauty is in the human will, not just the image." He turned to face her directly. "Your Highness, if you want to know what humans find beautiful, it's this. We find beauty in things that shouldn't exist but do anyway. In flowers growing through concrete. In people who smile despite tragedy. In species that crawl out of their caves and reach for the stars even though the universe is vast and terrifying. And we're so very small. Mia's bioluminescent patterns had gone completely still, a sign of deep concentration among her people. So beauty to humans is defiance. Beauty is context, Ken corrected gently. Its meaning layered upon form. When I look at you, Your Highness, yes, I see someone who is objectively, mathematically beautiful, but that's not what I find most compelling about you. Mia's patterns flared with surprise. Then what is? Ken smiled that enigmatic human smile. I see someone born into absolute privilege who chooses to spend her time in the archives, learning about species her court considers beneath notice. I see someone who could command me to answer her questions but instead asks permission. I see someone who questions, who wonders, who isn't satisfied with easy answers. That curiosity, that humility despite your station, that's what humans would find beautiful about you. For a long moment, Mia stood in silence, her patterns swirling with colors that expressed emotions she didn't fully understand herself. In all her cycles, no one had ever suggested that beauty could be anything other than what one was born with. Your species, she said quietly, is far stranger than the council gives you credit for. We're definitely strange, Ken agreed with a chuckle. We look at the universe and instead of seeing what is, we see what could be. We find beauty in potential, in becoming, in the journey rather than the destination. It's probably why we're so reckless, so determined, so unwilling to accept limitations. Is that why humans are called the stubborn ones by the other species? Mia asked. Probably, Ken admitted. We see a wall and instead of thinking impassable, we think, not passed yet. We see a problem, and instead of accepting it, we obsess over it until we find a solution. Or die trying. It's not always a good trait. We've nearly destroyed ourselves a dozen times because we couldn't accept that some things shouldn't be done. But you survived, Mia observed, despite everything working against you. Despite being physically weak, short-lived, and technologically slow. We survived because we're too stubborn to quit, Ken said with pride. And we found beauty in that survival. In the struggle itself. Every scar is a story. Every gray hair is a battle won. Every wrinkle is a smile repeated 1,000 times. Mia approached the window, standing beside Ken. Together they looked out at the vast expanse of space, at the countless stars representing countless worlds and peoples. I think, Mia said slowly, that humanity's definition of beauty might be the most beautiful thing I've encountered in the galaxy. Ken looked at her surprised. Really? Yes, Mia confirmed, her patterns glowing with certainty. Because it means that beauty isn't fixed. It's not something you're born with and lose as you age. It's something you earn. Something you create through living. Through choosing. Through enduring. She turned to face him fully. It means that anyone, anywhere can become beautiful. Not by changing their appearance, but by changing themselves. By growing. By fighting for what matters. Ken's smile widened into a grin. Your Highness, I think you just understood humanity better than most of the Galactic Council. Perhaps, Mia said, her patterns dancing with something that might have been joy. Or perhaps you humans simply have a way of making others see the universe differently. As they stood together in comfortable silence, both looking out at the endless stars, neither noticed the king observing from the shadows of the doorway. The ruler of Velara watched his daughter with keen interest, noting how her patterns had never glowed quite so brightly, how she leaned toward the human with unconscious ease. Perhaps, the king thought, these humans were more remarkable than anyone had realized. Any species that could find beauty in struggle, meaning in imperfection, and hope in adversity, such a species would be formidable indeed. And any individual who could make his daughter question the very foundations of their culture with nothing more than words and sincerity, that was someone worth watching very carefully. The galaxy, the king suspected, was about to become far more interesting with humanity in it.